Every morning is a fresh start, a new chance, a new battle, and what you tell yourself in the first few minutes decides how strong you walk into the world. So speak with power, speak with clarity, speak like a Stoic. When you remind yourself every morning that you control your thoughts, not the world, you begin the day with clarity and inner power. This idea is simple, but its strength is massive. Most people wake up reacting. They check their phone, see messages, see problems, see other people's opinions, and immediately lose control of their mind. But a Stoic starts the day by taking ownership of the one thing that truly belongs to them, their thoughts. When you tell yourself, "I control my thoughts," you are reminding your mind that nothing outside you has authority over your inner world. The weather cannot decide your mood. People's behavior cannot decide your emotions, and unexpected events cannot decide your peace. You decide what to think, how to interpret situations, and how to respond. This is where real strength begins. The world is full of noise. People complain, criticize, judge, and expect things from you. Life brings challenges, disappointments, and sudden changes. But all of this is external. None of it can touch your inner world unless you open the door and let it in. When you say, "I control my thoughts," you close that door. You create a mental boundary that protects your peace. You remind yourself that thoughts are like guests. You get to choose which ones you allow to stay. Negative thoughts may knock, stressful thoughts may appear, angry thoughts may rise, but you do not have to accept them. You can observe them, breathe, and let them pass. This practice gives you freedom, because it means you are no longer controlled by impulse or emotion. Every decision you make begins in the mind. Every reaction, every mood, every habit starts with a thought. If the thought is weak, the day becomes weak. If the thought is strong, the day becomes strong. Telling yourself that you control your thoughts sets a foundation for the entire day. It helps you stay calm when something irritating happens, patient when someone tests you, and focused when the world tries to distract you. Instead of being tossed around by circumstances, you stay centered. Instead of reacting quickly, you respond wisely. Instead of allowing negativity to grow, you replace it with clarity. This is how a Stoic lives, not by avoiding challenges, but by mastering their mindset. When you claim control over your thoughts, you also take responsibility for your life. You stop blaming others for how you feel. You stop waiting for the world to be perfect. You stop expecting people to behave the way you want. Instead, you turn inward. You understand that peace, strength, and resilience come from within. No one can give you these things, and no one can take them away. This mindset gives you power in situations where others feel powerless. When someone disrespects you, you choose how to interpret it. When plans fall apart, you choose how to adapt. When fear or doubt shows up, you choose whether to listen to it or challenge it. This daily reminder also sharpens your ability to pause before reacting. That pause is where mastery lives. In that pause, you choose patience instead of anger, understanding instead of frustration, logic instead of fear. This is how you turn your thoughts into your greatest strength. Each morning when you repeat this truth to yourself, your mind becomes more disciplined. You start to notice when a negative thought tries to take over. You become more aware of your inner dialogue. You correct your thinking before it becomes emotion. You redirect your focus before it becomes stress. You strengthen your mindset little by little, day by day, until control over your thoughts becomes natural. Over time, this practice shapes your character. You become someone who cannot be easily shaken, someone who remains grounded despite chaos, someone who stays calm even when others panic. You begin to live with intention instead of reacting blindly to everything around you. You walk through life with a steady mind, because each morning you choose to remind yourself of the truth, that the world may be wild, unpredictable, and full of challenges. But your thoughts are yours, and they remain under your command when you tell yourself, every morning, that you can handle whatever happens today. You lay a foundation of inner strength before the world even begins to test you. Life is unpredictable, and it doesn't ask your permission before sending challenges your way. Sometimes the day is smooth, sometimes it hits you with stress, surprises, or difficult people. But when you start your morning with the belief that you can handle anything, you shift your mindset from fear to readiness. You stop fearing problems and start preparing your mind to face them with calm and courage. This belief is not just a statement, it is a shield that stays with you throughout the day. Most people wake up hoping everything goes perfectly. They hope there is no conflict, no stress, no pressure. But the Stoic mindset is different. Instead of hoping for an easy day, you build yourself for a strong one. When you repeat, "I can handle whatever happens," you accept that life may not go according to your plans. People may disappoint you. Things may go wrong. Unexpected issues may appear. But instead of feeling defeated, you become adaptable. You train your mind to bend without breaking, to adjust without losing balance. This is the power of preparing your mind before the day begins. Telling yourself you can handle anything creates mental flexibility. It means you are not controlled by fear of the unknown. You stop worrying about what if scenarios, because no matter what comes, you are ready to face it. Whether it's a difficult conversation, a sudden setback, a stressful situation at work, or emotional pressure from someone close to you, you already set the intention that you will respond with strength instead of panic. This mindset makes you calm, steady, and resilient even when others around you lose control. This belief also helps you manage your emotions. When something unexpected happens, many people get overwhelmed. They think they can't deal with it and instantly react with frustration, anger, or fear. But when you remind yourself that you can handle anything, you create a mental buffer. Instead of reacting instantly, you take a breath. You give yourself space to think before you respond. You remind yourself that this challenge is not bigger than your ability to face it. This calmness gives you clarity, and clarity gives you control. You begin to act with intention rather than emotion. Every time you overcome a challenge, big or small, you build confidence. You prove to yourself that you are stronger than you thought. So when you repeat this truth in the morning, you are not lying to yourself. You are reminding yourself of past victories. You have already survived difficult days. You have already handled stress, change, pain, and uncertainty. You have made it through moments you once thought were too hard. This morning reminder reconnects you with your own strength. It tells your mind, you have done it before, and you can do it again. This mindset does not mean the day will be perfect. It means that you remain steady even when it's not. It means if something goes wrong, you adapt. If someone behaves badly, you stay calm. If plans fall apart, you adjust your path. You stop wishing for life to be easier, and instead choose to be stronger. The world cannot always be controlled, but your response can be. That is where your true power lies. When you tell yourself you can handle anything, you also remove fear from your morning. Fear comes from believing you're not strong enough to face what might happen. But when you affirm your strength at the start of the day, fear loses its grip. You become emotionally prepared, mentally grounded, and spiritually steady. You accept challenges, not as threats, but as opportunities to prove your resilience. You walk through the day with confidence and inner peace, knowing that no matter what life throws your way, your strength, patience, and mindset are enough to face it with dignity and courage. When you remind yourself each morning to focus only on what you can control, you free your mind from a huge amount of stress and unnecessary worry. Most of the frustration people feel comes from trying to manage things that are not theirs to manage. They try to control outcomes, other people's opinions, the behavior of strangers, the weather, timing, and countless external situations. But a Stoic begins the day with a simple truth. Your power is limited to your actions, your thoughts, and your attitude. When you start your morning with this understanding, you protect your energy from being wasted on things that are outside your reach. This mindset is not about being passive. It is about being wise. When you focus on what you can control, you direct all your strength toward what genuinely matters. You stop trying to force life to behave a certain way, and instead you focus on how you respond to whatever life brings. This shift reduces frustration because frustration grows when expectations clash with reality. By accepting that some things will not go your way, you remove the shock and stress that usually come with disappointment. You begin the day mentally prepared for challenges, not surprised by them. Most people drain themselves worrying about things they cannot change. They think endlessly about how someone might react, what someone might say, whether a situation will go exactly as planned. This constant mental overthinking steals peace before the day even begins. But when you remind yourself to focus only on your part, your mind becomes lighter. You allow yourself to breathe. You understand that your responsibility is to act with clarity, honesty, and effort, but the outcome is not yours to control. This brings calmness, because you stop carrying burdens that were never yours. When you concentrate on what you can control, you also grow stronger internally. You begin to see that your reactions are your true power. If someone speaks rudely, you don't control their behavior, but you do control your response. If plans change suddenly, you don't control the situation, but you do control how you adapt. If something you expected doesn't work out, you don't control the outcome, but you do control your attitude toward it. This mindset turns every challenge into an opportunity to practice strength, patience, and discipline. The more you practice this, the more naturally it becomes a part of your character. This principle also protects your peace. Peace is lost when your mind is scattered, worrying about everything at once. But peace returns when your focus becomes sharp and specific. You begin to ask yourself, is this something within my control? If the answer is no, you let it go. If the answer is yes, you take action. This simple filter saves you from unnecessary emotional chaos. It keeps your mind organized and grounded. It reminds you that not every battle belongs to you, and not every situation requires your reaction. By focusing on your own thoughts and actions, you become more disciplined. Discipline comes from consistency, and consistency comes from focusing on what you can actually influence. Instead of spending your morning thinking about things that may or may not happen, you bring your attention back to the present moment. This makes you more effective, more confident, and more productive throughout the day. It keeps your mindset from drifting into fear, anxiety, or overthinking. You learn to stay present, because the present is where your control exists. Over time, this morning reminder shapes your identity. You become someone who stays calm in uncertainty, someone who moves with purpose, someone who doesn't break when life becomes unpredictable. You stop blaming others or circumstances for your emotions. You take responsibility for your energy and for the direction of your life. You discover the power of letting go, not by giving up, but by choosing where to place your mental strength. When you focus on what you can control, your days become clearer, your mind becomes steadier, and your life becomes lighter, because you no longer carry the weight of the uncontrollable. When you remind yourself every morning to respond with reason, not emotion, you set the tone for a day guided by clarity instead of chaos. Emotions are natural, but acting from emotion alone often leads to regret, impulsive decisions, and unnecessary conflict. A Stoic begins the day with the understanding that emotions are visitors, not commanders. They come and go, but they do not have the right to dictate your actions unless you allow them to. When you commit to responding with reason, you give your mind space to think clearly before reacting, and this simple shift transforms the way you handle everything that comes your way. Most people wake up and start reacting immediately. A small inconvenience makes them angry, a single comment upsets them, a delay frustrates them. Their entire mood gets controlled by external events. But when you start your day with the intention of responding with reason, you step out of this automatic mode. You create a mental boundary between what you feel and what you choose to do. This separation is powerful. It means you can feel irritated without acting irritably. You can feel hurt without becoming destructive. You can feel stressed without letting stress control your behavior. Reason is your anchor. Emotions rise and fall like waves, but reason stays steady like the shore. When someone disrespects you, emotion pushes you to react instantly with anger, but reason tells you to pause, observe, and choose a response that protects your dignity. When a situation goes wrong, emotion tells you to panic or blame others, but reason tells you to calmly assess what can be fixed and what cannot. Reason gives you power because it allows you to respond with intention instead of instinct. Choosing reason over emotion does not mean ignoring your feelings. It means understanding them without letting them control you. Emotions are signals, not instructions. They tell you something is happening inside you, but it is your responsibility to decide what to do with that information. When you begin your morning with this mindset, you become less reactive and more thoughtful. You become someone who thinks before responding, someone who chooses words carefully, and someone who doesn't let temporary feelings create permanent damage. This morning reminder also protects your relationships. Many conflicts happen because people speak or act in the heat of the moment. A few angry seconds can create problems that last for years. But when you commit to responding with reason, you avoid unnecessary fights, you communicate more effectively, and you build trust with others. People feel safer around someone who is calm, stable, and measured in their reactions. Your presence becomes grounding instead of chaotic. Your words become deliberate instead of impulsive. Responding with reason also strengthens your self-control. Discipline is not just about actions, it is about emotional management. Every time you pause before reacting, you train your mind. That pause is where growth happens. It teaches you patience, awareness, and mastery over yourself. Over time, this becomes a part of your identity. You stop being easily triggered. You stop letting others control your emotional state. You develop a quiet strength that doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. This mindset also helps you see situations more clearly. Emotions often distort perception. When you are angry, everything looks like a threat. When you are anxious, everything feels bigger than it is. When you are sad, everything seems heavier. But reason brings balance. It allows you to step back and see things as they truly are, not as your emotions paint them. This clarity helps you make smarter decisions, avoid unnecessary mistakes, and navigate challenges with a steady mind. When you start your morning with the intention of responding with reason, you give yourself control over the day before the day tries to control you. You walk into situations with a calm mind, ready to face whatever comes without losing your balance. You lead with thought, not impulse. You choose strength over reaction. You become a person who is not moved by every emotion, but instead guided by wisdom, clarity, and self-mastery. When you begin your morning by choosing discipline over comfort, you set yourself on a path that leads to growth instead of stagnation. Comfort is easy, tempting, and pleasant in the moment, but it rarely leads to anything meaningful. Discipline, on the other hand, is often difficult, uncomfortable, and demanding. Yet it shapes your character, strengthens your mind, and builds the life you want. Every day presents a choice between what feels good now and what will make you stronger later. When you remind yourself in the morning to choose discipline, you are choosing to rise above excuses, laziness, and fear. You are choosing to take control of your day instead of letting your impulses control you. Comfort whispers to you. It tells you to stay in bed a little longer, to avoid difficult tasks, to delay important decisions, to do what is easy instead of what is necessary. But when you commit to discipline, you quiet that voice. You tell yourself that your future matters more than temporary ease. Discipline becomes a promise you make to yourself. It is not about perfection, it is about consistency. Even small acts of discipline, repeated daily, create massive changes over time. When you start your day with this mindset, you set a standard for yourself that guides your actions, your choices, and your behavior throughout the entire day. Choosing discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. This builds mental toughness. Every time you push yourself to act despite discomfort, you reinforce your ability to overcome resistance. You teach your mind that you are stronger than your feelings. This is one of the core teachings of Stoicism, to be governed by reason and purpose, not by impulses or emotions. Discipline turns you into someone who can rely on themselves. It turns your goals from dreams into realities, because you are willing to put in the work consistently. This morning reminder also helps you fight procrastination. Procrastination is born from seeking comfort. It tells you that tasks can wait, that you'll do them later, that you need the right feeling to begin. But discipline does not wait for feelings. Discipline acts, and once you act, motivation follows. Each time you choose discipline over comfort, you weaken the habit of delaying and strengthen the habit of doing. Over weeks and months, this builds unstoppable momentum in your life. Choosing discipline also creates inner respect. When you keep your promises to yourself, your confidence grows. You stop doubting yourself because your actions prove your strength. People often look for confidence in external achievements, but true confidence comes from knowing you can depend on your own effort and consistency. When you choose discipline every morning, you send a message to yourself that you are serious about your growth, your goals, and your future. This internal respect becomes a powerful source of motivation. Comfort keeps you where you are. Discipline moves you forward. Discipline is the difference between someone who talks about change and someone who actually transforms their life. It pushes you to develop habits that support your physical health, mental clarity, and overall well-being. Whether it is exercising, reading, working, practicing your craft, or building your character, discipline ensures that you show up, even when you don't want to. Success is simply the result of disciplined actions repeated over time. This mindset also helps you handle challenges more effectively. When you choose discipline, you become more resilient. Difficult tasks no longer intimidate you, because you train yourself daily to face discomfort. Problems stop feeling like threats and start feeling like opportunities to grow stronger. You learn to see discomfort as a teacher rather than an enemy. This shift changes the way you approach life. Instead of avoiding hard things, you step toward them with purpose and confidence. By choosing discipline over comfort at the start of your day, you set a tone of strength that follows you through every task and decision. You stop allowing the easier path to tempt you away from what truly matters. You begin to control your habits instead of letting your habits control you. Discipline becomes the engine that drives your progress, shapes your identity, and builds the life you know you are capable of creating. When you start your morning with the intention to protect your inner peace at all costs, you step into the day with a strong shield around your mind. Inner peace is one of the most valuable things a person can have, yet it is also one of the easiest things to lose. Noise, distractions, negativity, and unexpected problems all try to pull you away from your calm center. When you remind yourself every morning that your peace is a priority, you take responsibility for your emotional state, instead of allowing the world to decide it for you. This mindset gives you strength because it means no person, no situation, and no random event can easily shake your stability. Protecting your inner peace begins with awareness. The moment you open your eyes, you are surrounded by influences, messages, notifications, expectations, responsibilities, and thoughts that rush into your mind. Many people allow these things to control how they feel, reacting instantly and unconsciously. But when you start your day by choosing peace, you create a gap between yourself and the chaos. You move through the morning with intention instead of rushing. You choose calmness over urgency. You choose clarity over confusion. This sets the tone for the rest of the day. To protect your peace, you must also set boundaries. Not everyone deserves access to your emotions. Some people drain your energy, some bring unnecessary drama, and some try to control how you feel. When you protect your peace, you learn to say no without guilt. You learn to step back from people who constantly bring negativity. You learn to stop explaining yourself to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. These boundaries are not selfish, they are essential. Without them, your mind becomes a battlefield instead of a sanctuary. Another part of protecting your inner peace is learning not to take things personally. Most of what people do has nothing to do with you. Their mood, attitude, tone, and actions come from their own struggles, insecurities, or stress. When you take everything personally, you allow others to control your emotions. But when you decide to protect your peace, you remind yourself that not every comment deserves your reaction, not every situation needs your involvement, and not every behavior reflects your worth. You choose your battles wisely, and often, the wisest choice is to walk away with your calm intact. Protecting your peace also means controlling your internal dialogue. Your mind can become your greatest enemy if left unchecked. It can replay negative moments, create unnecessary worries, or amplify fears. When you choose to protect your peace, you pay attention to your thoughts. You replace negative self-talk with clarity. You stop assuming the worst. You bring your mind back to the present moment, instead of letting it wander into stress. You guide your thoughts the same way a captain guides a ship through turbulent waters, with steady hands and a calm focus. Your habits play a major role in your inner peace as well. The way you start your morning, the things you focus on, and the routines you follow all affect your emotional state. When you build habits that support peace, such as mindfulness, quiet reflection, deep breathing, or simply sitting in silence, you train your nervous system to stay calm even when life becomes intense. Peace is not something you find randomly. It is something you build through consistent practices that align your mind, body, and spirit. Protecting your inner peace also requires letting go. Letting go of what you cannot control, letting go of past mistakes, letting go of expectations that burden you, and letting go of the need to please everyone. Holding on to these things creates emotional clutter. Letting go creates room for peace. When you start your day with the intention to release anything that disturbs your mind, you move through life more lightly. You stop carrying emotional weight that slows you down. You become more focused on what truly matters. Over time, protecting your inner peace becomes a form of self-respect. You no longer tolerate situations that damage your emotional well-being. You no longer give your energy to things that don't help you grow. You stop apologizing for choosing yourself. You understand that peace is not weakness. It is a form of strength not everyone understands. And when you guard it with discipline and awareness, you move through the world with a calm power that nothing external can easily break. When you begin your morning by reminding yourself to be grateful for every new day, you set a foundation of positivity and clarity that influences your entire life. Gratitude is more than just saying, "Thank you." It is a conscious recognition of the value in every moment, every experience, and every opportunity. Most people wake up focused on what is missing, or what went wrong yesterday, or what might go wrong today. This mindset immediately invites stress, negativity, and dissatisfaction. But when you start your day with gratitude, you shift your perspective. You see the world not as a series of problems, but as a series of opportunities, lessons, and gifts. Gratitude transforms ordinary mornings into moments of power and presence. Gratitude is a practice, and like any practice, it grows stronger with repetition. Each morning, you have the chance to reflect on simple things that are often overlooked. The air you breathe, the roof over your head, the people who care about you, the abilities you possess, the challenges you have survived, and the opportunities that lie ahead. These are all reasons to be grateful. By acknowledging them first thing in the morning, you remind your mind that life is not about what is lacking, but about what exists, what is possible, and what you can shape. This perspective creates resilience because your mind starts the day rooted in abundance rather than scarcity. Gratitude also strengthens your mindset against negativity. Life will always bring stress, setbacks, and difficulties, but a grateful mind refuses to be dominated by them. When challenges arise, gratitude helps you see the lesson, the growth, or the opportunity hidden within. Instead of reacting with frustration or despair, you can pause, observe, and find a reason to appreciate the experience. Gratitude acts as a shield against unnecessary emotional turbulence. It allows you to maintain calmness, clarity, and strength, even when the world around you feels chaotic. Practicing gratitude every morning also improves your relationships. When you recognize and appreciate the people in your life, your interactions become warmer, more understanding, and more supportive. You begin to see acts of kindness that might otherwise go unnoticed. You notice contributions from colleagues, friends, or family members. Even small gestures take on greater significance. When gratitude is part of your daily practice, you respond to others with respect and acknowledgement rather than taking them for granted. This builds trust, harmony, and deeper connections in all areas of life. Gratitude influences your actions as well. When you start your day appreciating what you have, you are more motivated to use your time, energy, and talents wisely. You approach tasks with focus and purpose. Because you understand the value of the opportunities you have been given, you are less likely to waste time on trivial complaints, distractions, or regrets. Gratitude helps you act intentionally. Because it aligns your mindset with what truly matters, it encourages you to contribute positively, pursue growth, and face challenges with courage. A grateful mindset also nurtures mental and physical well-being. Studies have shown that gratitude reduces stress, improves sleep, strengthens immunity, and enhances overall happiness. When you focus on what is good, your body and mind respond positively. You begin to experience the day with more energy, more patience, and more presence. Gratitude keeps you grounded in the present moment rather than dwelling on past mistakes or future worries. It reminds you that life is happening now, and that every day is an opportunity to act with awareness and intention. Starting your morning with gratitude is a form of mental training. It strengthens your awareness, shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance, and builds emotional resilience. You learn to see opportunities where others see obstacles, lessons where others see losses, and beauty where others see monotony. It creates a mindset that attracts positivity, because the mind tends to notice and amplify what it focuses on. When gratitude becomes a habit, it shapes your identity, your perception, and your actions, making you more centered, content, and powerful in facing whatever the day brings. When you start your morning with the belief that strength grows through challenges, you prepare your mind to face difficulties with courage and resilience. Life is full of obstacles, setbacks, and moments that test your patience, character, and determination. Most people see challenges as burdens, as things to avoid or complain about. But a Stoic sees them as opportunities for growth, learning, and self-improvement. By reminding yourself every morning that challenges make you stronger, you reframe adversity from something negative into a powerful tool for building your mental and emotional resilience. Challenges are inevitable. People will disappoint you, plans will fail, and unexpected problems will arise. The difference between someone who thrives and someone who struggles lies in how they perceive these obstacles. When you begin your day understanding that each challenge is a chance to grow, you face them with a mindset of opportunity instead of fear. You begin to look for lessons in every situation. Even difficulties that seem unfair or overwhelming can be used to strengthen your patience, discipline, problem-solving skills, and self-control. Each challenge becomes a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. Reminding yourself that strength grows through challenges also changes your emotional responses. Life often pushes people into frustration, anger, or despair when things don't go smoothly. But when you view difficulty as growth, you respond differently. Stress becomes manageable, setbacks become temporary, and obstacles become teachers. You learn to pause instead of reacting impulsively. You analyze the situation and decide the best course of action. This mindset reduces unnecessary suffering, because you are not fighting the difficulty emotionally. You are learning from it, adapting to it, and using it to develop yourself. Facing challenges intentionally every day also builds confidence. Each time you overcome a problem, endure a difficult situation, or persevere through discomfort, you prove to yourself that you are capable. Over time, this repeated practice of facing obstacles strengthens your belief in your own abilities. You begin to approach life with courage, knowing that no challenge is too great to handle. This confidence is not arrogance. It is grounded in real experience and repeated success in navigating adversity. It becomes a quiet, steady power that influences every decision, action, and interaction. Challenges also sharpen your skills and increase your adaptability. Life rarely follows a predictable path, and the ability to adjust is one of the greatest strengths you can develop. When you remind yourself that strength grows through challenges, you welcome situations that push you out of your comfort zone. Each problem forces you to think creatively, make decisions under pressure, and develop resilience. The more you face difficulty, the more capable and flexible you become. You begin to see obstacles not as threats, but as tools for improvement and self-mastery. This mindset also encourages perseverance. Challenges often require consistent effort, patience, and determination. By framing them as opportunities for growth, you develop the discipline to continue, even when the path is hard. You stop quitting at the first sign of difficulty and start building endurance, both mentally and emotionally. This endurance is valuable not only for immediate problems but also for long-term goals and ambitions. Strength gained through challenges compounds over time, shaping a character that can handle anything life presents. Viewing challenges as growth also fosters humility and gratitude. Difficulties remind you that life is complex, that you are always learning, and that perfection is impossible. They encourage reflection, self-awareness, and the recognition of your limitations while inspiring the desire to improve. By starting your morning with this mindset, you prepare yourself to face the day with courage, resilience, and an understanding that the obstacles you encounter are not just problems, but opportunities to become a stronger, wiser, and more capable version of yourself. When you start your morning reminding yourself to let go of other people's opinions, you free your mind from unnecessary pressure and distraction. Most people live their lives trying to satisfy others, worrying about judgment, or seeking approval. This constant concern about what others think steals energy, limits decisions, and weakens confidence. A Stoic begins the day understanding that the only opinion that truly matters is their own reasoned judgment and self-awareness. When you make a habit of releasing the weight of others' opinions, you allow yourself to act freely, make better choices, and live authentically according to your own values. Other people's opinions are unpredictable and often based on their own fears, misunderstandings, or limited perspectives. When you let these opinions dictate your mood or actions, you give control of your life to external forces. By reminding yourself every morning to let go, you reclaim that control. You recognize that criticism, praise, or judgment from others says more about them than it does about you. This awareness creates distance between yourself, worth, and external validation, allowing your decisions to be guided by reason, purpose, and your own standards, rather than by fear of approval or rejection. Letting go of other people's opinions also reduces stress and anxiety. Worrying about what people will think leads to constant overthinking, second guessing, and hesitation. It prevents you from taking risks, pursuing goals, or expressing yourself honestly. When you internalize the practice of disregarding unnecessary opinions, your mind becomes lighter and clearer. You approach your day with focus, energy, and a sense of freedom. You stop reacting to imagined criticism or imagined expectations, and instead you respond to reality with calmness and intention. This mindset strengthens confidence and self-reliance. Each time you make a decision based on your judgment, rather than the anticipated judgment of others, you reinforce your trust in yourself. Over time, this builds an inner authority that is unshakable by gossip, social pressure, or negative comments. You become someone who moves through life with purpose and self-assurance, because your actions are guided by principles and reason, not by fleeting approval. Confidence grows from experience, from living true to yourself, and from proving to yourself repeatedly that you are capable of handling consequences without depending on external validation. Letting go of others' opinions also allows you to cultivate authenticity. Many people hide their true thoughts, desires, or talents because they fear judgment. When you release the need for approval, you start to act in alignment with your true self. You speak honestly, pursue meaningful goals, and express creativity without hesitation. Authenticity attracts respect, trust, and genuine connections, because people sense the clarity and integrity that come from someone who does not bend to external pressures. When you remind yourself of this every morning, you begin the day grounded in who you are, not who others want you to be. This practice also encourages resilience. Criticism, misunderstanding, or disapproval will always exist, and trying to control it is futile. By letting go of other people's opinions, you prevent emotional disturbances from disrupting your focus or peace. You stop taking offense unnecessarily and stop internalizing negativity that does not belong to you. Your energy is preserved for growth, action, and meaningful engagement, rather than wasted on managing the expectations or judgments of others. Finally, letting go of others' opinions aligns your mind with what you can control. You cannot control thoughts or judgments of other people, but you can control your actions, reactions, and attitudes. By focusing on what you can influence, your life becomes clearer, calmer, and more purposeful. This habit, practiced every morning, builds mental discipline and emotional independence. It trains you to value your reasoning above noise, your judgment above rumor, and your integrity above superficial approval. You begin to face each day with strength, focus, and freedom from the invisible chains of external opinion. When you start your morning by reminding yourself to speak less and observe more, you begin the day with clarity, awareness, and wisdom. Most people rush to respond, comment, or share their opinions without fully understanding the situation. This often leads to misunderstandings, mistakes, and wasted energy. A Stoic understands that silence is not weakness, but a tool for self-control and insight. By speaking less and observing more, You train yourself to listen to the world, to analyze situations carefully, and to respond intentionally rather than impulsively. This mindset allows you to act from reason, not from reaction. Observation is one of the most powerful tools a person can develop. The world is constantly presenting lessons, opportunities, and signals. Most people are too busy talking, reacting, or worrying to notice them. When you start your morning reminding yourself to observe more, you sharpen your attention. You notice patterns in behavior, subtleties in situations, and the truth behind appearances. Observation allows you to understand people and circumstances before you respond. This prevents unnecessary conflict, mistakes, or wasted effort, because you act based on understanding, rather than assumptions or emotion. Speaking less also strengthens your credibility and influence. Words lose power when they are used carelessly. People often speak to be heard rather than to communicate meaningfully. When you speak less, every word you say carries weight. People begin to notice that you think before speaking, that your words are intentional, and that your actions match your statements. This builds trust and respect. Others are more likely to listen to you, follow your guidance, and take you seriously because they know your words are measured and deliberate. This practice also develops patience. Patience grows when you allow yourself to absorb information, analyze situations, and wait before responding. By observing more and speaking less, you reduce impulsivity and emotional reactions. You learn to wait for clarity, to assess all perspectives, and to choose the right moment to act or speak. This makes your decisions more accurate, your relationships stronger, and your daily life smoother. Patience, cultivated in the morning, becomes a foundation for navigating challenges throughout the day. Observing more also improves self-awareness. When you spend time listening, watching, and reflecting instead of constantly talking, you notice your own thoughts, feelings, and biases. You start to understand what triggers you, what motivates you, and how your reactions affect others. This self-knowledge allows you to act with greater intention and to align your behavior with your values. Over time, speaking less and observing more becomes a form of self-mastery, where your actions are guided by reason and insight rather than impulse or ego. This approach also helps in managing conflict and negativity. When faced with criticism, anger, or hostility, most people react immediately, often escalating the situation. But when your default is to observe first and speak carefully, you prevent unnecessary arguments. You assess the situation, choose whether to respond, and craft your words thoughtfully if needed. This not only protects your peace, but also increases your influence, because people respond better to measured, thoughtful communication than to impulsive reactions. Starting your morning with this mindset transforms the way you experience the day. You become more focused, more present, and more effective in all areas of life. You listen to opportunities instead of overlooking them, understand people instead of misjudging them, and act intentionally instead of reacting blindly. Your mind becomes sharper, your decisions wiser, and your energy more directed. By speaking less and observing more, you create a habit of thoughtful engagement that turns ordinary interactions into moments of insight, learning, and meaningful action. Over time, this practice cultivates wisdom. You learn to value understanding over argument, insight over noise, and reflection over reaction. Life becomes clearer and more manageable because you are no longer scattered by impulsive speech or uncontrolled responses. You move through each day with purpose, seeing more, learning more, and acting more effectively. The habit of observing more and speaking less is a simple yet profound way to gain control over your mind and your actions and your life, shaping you into a person of calm strength and measured power. When you start your morning with the intention to stay present, the moment is all you own. You anchor yourself in reality instead of being pulled into the past or the future. Most people spend their lives either dwelling on what has already happened or worrying about what might come. This constant mental wandering creates stress, regret, and fear. A Stoic begins the day with a reminder that the only time you truly control is the present moment. The past is gone, and the future is uncertain. The only power you have is here now. By focusing on the present, you become more aware, more effective, and more peaceful throughout your day. Staying present allows you to fully engage with whatever you are doing. When your mind drifts to the past, You may relive mistakes, regrets, or disappointments, and your energy is wasted on events you cannot change. When your mind drifts to the future, you may worry, overthink, or become anxious about outcomes you cannot guarantee. By grounding yourself in the present, you focus on what you can actually influence. Each action becomes deliberate, each decision thoughtful, and each moment meaningful. This is the essence of Stoic practice, to live fully in the now, because the now is all that truly exists. Focusing on the present also enhances productivity and effectiveness. When your attention is scattered, you cannot act with clarity or purpose. You may start tasks but never finish them, make mistakes, or become overwhelmed by what lies ahead. By reminding yourself every morning that the moment is all you own, you bring your mind back to what matters. You concentrate on one task at a time, giving it your full effort and attention. This focus allows you to work efficiently, make better decisions, and achieve more without unnecessary stress or distraction. Being present also improves emotional stability. Emotions are strongest when we attach them to past mistakes or future worries. Anger, regret, fear, and anxiety are often rooted in thinking about things outside of the present moment. When you train yourself to stay present, you reduce these emotional disturbances. You respond to situations calmly and intentionally, instead of reacting impulsively. This creates a mental state of clarity and peace, allowing you to handle challenges with composure and reason rather than being swept away by emotion. Staying in the moment also deepens your experiences. Life is not something to rush through or constantly plan for. It is something to experience fully. When you are present, you notice the details, appreciate the small victories, and find meaning in simple actions. A conversation becomes richer, work becomes more engaging, and even routine tasks carry more significance. This mindful awareness transforms your daily life from a series of events to a continuous opportunity for growth, learning, and fulfillment. This practice also strengthens resilience. When your mind is anchored in the present, you stop being paralyzed by fear of the future or regret over the past. Challenges are easier to face because you are focused on what you can do right now. You take action where it is needed, without being distracted by things you cannot control. This focus gives you confidence and clarity, and it allows you to navigate life's difficulties with steadiness and determination. By starting each morning with the reminder that the moment is all you own, you train your mind to let go of unnecessary distractions, to value what is real and immediate, and to act with purpose. Your awareness sharpens, your energy concentrates, and your actions align with your intentions. Over time, this habit creates a life where you are fully engaged, fully responsible, and fully alive in every moment, experiencing each day with clarity, strength, and wisdom.